Welcome to a 2013 GLIAC season preview for Saginaw Valley State University. I'm J.J. Boehm, joined by SVSU head football coach Jim Collins. And Coach, guys haven't returned yet. Training camp's still a few days away, but I'm sure everybody's eager to get started.
It's been really good seeing guys throughout the summer. Obviously, a lot of guys on campus working out, and the excitement of the start of the season. And it's an exciting time in Saginaw Valley, no doubt about it.
And this is one of those seasons where, you start looking across this team, a lot of seniors, particularly in key positions.
Absolutely. And when you've got a senior coming back at your quarterback position and your leading receivers are all seniors, I think that lends itself to some things offensively. But then you also look at how many seniors we have on the offensive line, which is one of those positions where development and experience is so important. And the same thing can be said defensively.
So a lot of experience coming back for SVSU, and you'll certainly need it out of the gate because since you've come to SVSU, tried to make a point of scheduling national powerhouses in Division II football. This season, no exception. You open at Northwest Missouri State.
We're really excited about it, only because we like playing teams that are ranked high in preseason polls and had outstanding seasons the year before. And it was Cal PA a few years ago, Valdosta last year, and they went on to win the national championship, and a Northwest Missouri team who played in 5 straight national championships in the mid-2000 era. So we're excited about the opportunity, and obviously all of our players are looking forward to it.
Let's talk a little about your team, and you started talking about the offense. I think people are expecting you to put the ball in the air a little bit when you mentioned you've got your top 3 receivers returning, all seniors, quarterback returning, all 5 starters on the offensive line returning. That's a pretty good combination.
Exactly, and I think the big thing is how much experience. We're not talking about guys that started for the first time last year. We're talking about a lot of players that have 2 and 3 years worth of experience in the program, have been through some adversity, and I think that's one of the great things about having an experienced team. They know how to handle adversity because football is a tough game and our conference is very competitive. But having John Jennings back at quarterback, he's done some great things in terms of throwing the football, also running the football, but having the weapons at his disposal. Jeff Janis and Michael Albrecht and Mark Thrash all coming back as seniors that have been playing with John for a while now. I think is good. So there's a lot of people for him to get the football to, and I think John's gonna have a feeling of comfort and confidence to be able to stand back behind 5 starters on the offensive line, who I thought last year did a great job of protecting them, and we're expecting even better this year.
And then the other 2 positions on the offensive side of the football are kind of the reverse, where your top 2 tight ends both graduated, your top 2 running backs both graduated. So should be some interesting competition in fall camp, I would think, for those spots.
And I think that's the best thing about fall camp. Really 2 things. Number one, you want to get your veterans polished up and get them back in the swing of things. But the real part that I enjoy the most is the competition for those spots that have been vacated, especially by the group of seniors that vacated those spots, the Sesich and Hoyle, and then Tim Hogan and Ronnie Lark. So I think we're going to have great competition. We've got some great players that are going to compete for those spots. Maybe not as much experience as you'd like to have, but that's college football. You're always going to be getting new guys ready to play, and I'm excited about that.
Switching to the defensive side of the football, you did graduate 3 seniors, kind of one at each level of the defense. Nate Snyder at defensive end, Grant Caserta at linebacker, and Jeff Heath at safety, who's currently battling for a position with the Dallas Cowboys. But you return 8 starters on defense, and that's got to be quite a nice luxury as well.
Exactly, and the nice thing about defense is that we did have players playing those spots. Grant Caserta has played a ton of linebacker for us. But we've been able to rotate some other guys in and get some other guys experience, like a Trevor Blattner and a Dwight Trammer. Guys that had experience on special teams, got into some ball games and got some snaps at inside linebacker. So there's some battle-tested guys there. Nate Snyder had a heck of a career for us, but once again, we've got guys that play significant minutes. So I think that experience, we feel good about who's going to be replacing Nate Snyder. And then, you talk about Jeff Heath. He's with the Cowboys right now. So far, things are going really well, and we wish him the best. And we do have guys that have played safety and have played in the secondary. But the big thing is to have someone that leads our defense like Jeff did. And I think the same thing about Grant. Grant was a great leader in the heart of our defense. So replacing that leadership, I think, is going to be critical. But I like the guys we have coming back. And much like offense, we've got a lot of guys that have been around for a while. Ryan Bush, and Jordan Mako. We're talking about guys who've been here a while: Brian Johnson, John Bryant, D'Angelo Paris, Dave Tucson, just to name a few. So I think we've got a lot of guys with a lot of experience that are looking forward to this season.
And what do you do to get this team ready now? Because, again, when you do have a senior-laden club, there's also generally that feeling, hey, we want to go out on the highest possible note.
Exactly, and that's what we've been working for since the season ended last year. I think two things with last season. Number one, it was a great way to finish up the year with a big victory in our last game, but it was bittersweet because we didn't get an opportunity to play in the national playoffs, and that's one of our goals. Our goal is to win the conference, win the national championship, and I think that has been the motivating force for our seniors and our whole football club since December. And I think we're a determined group. We've got hard workers, very competitive individuals, and as long as they're committed to doing things better than they've ever been done before, and that's the commitment we've made as a senior group in a football program, I think we've got a great opportunity for great things to happen.
How much does it help, too, in a season like this where, because of the way the academic calendar falls and the way that the football schedule falls, training camp's going to be a little shorter than it typically is, not just for SVSU, but for everybody. So I would have to think that having that many guys returning with game experience is going to help you be ready a little bit sooner than maybe some other teams.
I think there are some advantages. I think you mentioned the one big one. I think having experienced guys when you don't have as many practices. Everyone has as many days to get ready, but you lose practices with the start of school, start of classes 1 week earlier. But I think the other part of it, JJ, is as coaches, we tend sometimes to lose the importance of having fresh bodies. And during preseason camp, you really get beat up. So I think for a team like ours, we can sacrifice the amount of practices. I think that's going to be a good thing because we have an experienced group. And the other part of it is I think we can stay fresher without the pounding of numerous preseason practices.
Because, again, you wouldn't be able to have the same type of rugged camp you sometimes have.
Sure.
and then have guys physically recover. What do you think are some of the keys for your football club to be successful? Because one of the things we've also seen now is that with the GLIAC going to divisional play, it's rugged every week, and particularly when you get into GLIAC North play, and you really need to be able to continue to play well for every week because you don't get any weeks where you get to recover.
Well, I think the main emphasis has to be that every single play matters. And we're not just talking offense and defense. We've got an experienced kicker coming back that's going to make a difference in our program with the Scott Stanford. And we've got a new punter we've got to get ready with the loss of Bronco Hamilton. So, I think we have to really take the approach that every single play is going to matter all season long, whether it's practice or the games. And if it's a kicking game play, if it's an offensive play or defensive play, it's going to be really important because the margin in our league, especially with as competitive as the teams are, you can't slip up. One play could be the difference between winning and losing. So I think as long as we emphasize that and keep emphasizing that and keep that fresh in our players' minds, that's gonna be really important for us. The other part of it is the job of the coaches, I think, is to really do a great job of developing our depth. And I think depth is so important in our league because, as you said, it's a rugged schedule. And we're going to play a top 10 football team to start the season. And then we're going to go through a GLIAC season of playing good football teams, physical football games, and guys are going to get banged up, and we've got to have the type of depth to withstand those minor injuries or major injuries and still not use that as an excuse in order to compete at the highest level.
What should fans expect from SVSU football in 2013?
Well, I think they can expect an exciting team. I think they're going to expect a team that's committed to doing things right, and more than anything, they're going to see a team that knows how to finish. And we've focused on that. We've worked very hard on it. That's about conditioning and a mindset. So we're going to be physical. We're going to finish, and it's going to be an exciting year.
Well, we look forward to it. The season kicks off for the Cardinals September 5th at Northwest Missouri, and then they return home. Their first home contest will be September 14th against Malone. We hope you have enjoyed this 2013 season preview for Saginaw Valley State University. Welcome back to an SVSU 2013 football season preview. I'm JJ Boehm, joined by SVSU senior quarterback John Jennings. And John, got to think you guys are eager to get the 2013 season underway.
Absolutely. Been super anxious all summer. After we didn't make the playoffs last year, there was nothing more that we wanted than a chance to really come out here and improve ourselves this year.
Talk about what that meant for you guys to know that you had such a successful season on so many levels. You beat the the eventual national champ in Valdosta State, but you got left out of that playoff picture.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. I didn't really understand necessarily, but that's how things go sometimes. We felt good about the wins that we had. Beating Valdosta and Grand Valley to end the season. That really felt good, but it kind of hurt, and I think that fueled a little fire in us for this year.
You talk about the last game of the season and the first game of the season last year. You got two toughies this year again because you'll close with Grand Valley again this year at Grand Valley, but you open on the road at Northwest Missouri, another perennial power. So you guys will have to be ready come September 5th.
Yeah, I think it's exciting because to be the best, you have to beat the best. So we've heard that all along coming up, and I think that's really exciting for our program. And really to beat those type of teams really shows a lot about the character of your teammates and coaches.
We see you today. You're in your shorts and your T-shirt. It's August. Everybody's ready for training camp. I think back to your campus visit, meeting you and your dad. It was a cold December day. How fast has this time gone for you now being a senior and heading into your senior season?
Way too fast. I've been so anxious to get to the season, but at the same time, now that it's here, I'm trying to just cherish every moment. It really came way too fast, and I can't believe it's here already, but a great opportunity at hand, and we're going to try to make the best of it.
At the same time, you being a senior, you look at what you're going to be working with on offense. There's a lot of other seniors that are going to be out there with you.
Yeah.
You've got your top three senior wide receivers all returning, and Jeff Janis, Mike Albrecht, and Mark Thrash. You've got all five starters on the offensive line returning, so you've got a lot of familiar faces to work with.
Yeah, we're very comfortable on the offensive side of the ball. Really, we've been working with those guys since basically about 2 years ago. So it's our third year for most of us working together. And being comfortable is really a great thing for us, and I think it's going to help us a lot.
How much has it helped you to now have had essentially 3 years of also game experience, because you played quite a bit, started some games as a true freshman, and have been the starting quarterback now for each of the last 2 seasons?
It's helped a lot. Obviously experience is the best teacher for anything, but I think the way it's panned out for me has been a blessing, a true blessing, and it's worked out very well for me.
What have you guys been emphasizing over the course of the summer? Obviously, those workouts are very informal and those kinds of things, but it's also a time when a team can really sort of gel and get ready heading into fall camp.
I think you used a great word, gelling. Trying to become closer as teammates and brothers. I think that's a big part of winning, and at the same time, just trying to do everything better. That's been a big motto for this year, is trying to, enhance everything that we've done in the past, but just do it a little bit better.
J.J. Boehm talking with John Jennings, SVSU senior quarterback from Westerville, Ohio, and now getting ready for your senior season. What are some of the things that you've been working on specifically to try and elevate your game and your performance for this 2013 season?
Really just trying to increase my accuracy on throws and really trying to eliminate the mental mistakes. I know that, some of the turnovers and things of that nature really hurt the team, so I got to make sure that I eliminate those and try to make the best decisions on every play.
What have you learned as well now, having one season of going through conference play in this new divisional alignment where you have the GLIAC North and it's a very tough schedule week in and week out?
You really have to execute efficiently every single week. You're going to have tough teams each week. They're all going to bring it, and they know that we're a good team, so they're all going to come full force ahead, and we really just need to execute and be on the top of our game every single week.
How much does it help you and your teammates? We mentioned before all the experience that there is, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, to have that experience and that familiarity in a season like this where training camp's basically a week. You have a very short time to get ready before the season starts.
Yeah, it helps us gel once again, and I think that was a big part of being here in the summer. We had a lot of guys up here working on certain routes and working on certain adjustments that we wanted to make, but it all helps. That experience is a critical factor, and that's why they usually put the experienced teams at the top.
What's the number one thing that you want to see from yourself and from your teammates in this 2013 season?
I mean, I want to see a championship, absolutely. That's the expectations that we have, and I think I have expectations for myself to be one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best in the nation. And I'm putting that goal ahead in front of myself, and going to definitely try to pull that one out.
Well, John, best of luck to you and to all of the Cardinals in 2013. Thank you very much for joining us.
Appreciate it, JJ.
That is SVSU senior quarterback John Jennings. Stay tuned. More coming up on this 2013 SVSU season preview. Welcome back to a 2013 SVSU football season preview. I'm J.J. Boehm, joined by SVSU senior wide receiver Jeff Janis. Jeff, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And I say senior because now you look at it and the number of games before you in your college career is numbered. We don't know what that exact number may be, but how does that change your mindset preparing to go into this, your senior season?
As a senior, it just puts a little fire behind you, thinking that this might be the last time you ever get to play football. So, in practice, every rep you take, it just makes it mean that much more, and it just makes you go a lot harder.
You mentioned it might be the last time you play football. For you, it also might not. I know it's difficult because on the one hand, you have to try to focus on the task at hand. At the other side, you're human, so
yeah.
I'm sure you hear all of this chatter. How do you balance all of that? How do you take that all in? Because you're somebody that people talk about as having a potential pro future.
Yeah. It's good to hear, but then again, you got to realize that I'm still in school, and I'm still here playing for Saginaw Valley, and that's my number one priority right now is to win a championship here. So I kind of just try and push that all aside and just keep working, keep improving on the things that I'm not as good at or things I keep making mistakes on, and just try to get better every day.
How much did it help you to watch an example of a guy like Jeff Heath last year and the way that he approached his senior season and then ultimately that leading to his opportunity with the Dallas Cowboys?
Right. That was really cool to see Jeff do that because, I came in with him and, he was just like me. We were a lot smaller and as we've grown so much being in our senior year and it's really motivating and it kind of just reminds everybody on the team that it can happen. And if you work hard enough for it, he was more dedicated than a lot of guys that I see come through here, so it was cool to see him go on.
What does it mean for you now to get ready for this senior season? You mentioned you came in with a guy like Jeff Heath. You've also now been working for years with John Jennings, your quarterback, with Michael Albrecht and Mark Thrash, two fellow senior wide receivers. How much does that add to what the senior season will mean for you?
It's really great to be able to play with guys like that because you just kind of connect on a certain level, and we've all been through so many things together, and it just kind of sits in the back of your mind and lets you know that whatever happens, them guys are going to be there for you. And it's really cool and special and kind of makes the whole team come together because they see that too. And I think if we have our team come together like that, that's going to make us hard to beat.
When I think back on your career, one of the games that stands out to me is that playoff game against Minnesota Duluth where, cold day, really kind of the stereotype of Duluth, Minnesota, but you were out there and able to have a big day and make some big plays against them, and it really seemed like that was something of a springboard for you. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely think so. That was one of the first playoff games I ever got to play in, and like you said, it was 20 degrees and wind blowing, and you just kind of had to block all that out and just channel into what you've been doing in practice and just rep it out, and when you do that, you just play instinctively instead of thinking about things.
J.J. Boehm talking with SVSU senior wide receiver Jeff Janis, relatively local product out of Tawas, and I know that was one of the things, too, that you weren't one of these guys that was heavily recruited.
Right.
You had a few other opportunities, but decided that SVSU was the right fit for you.
Yeah, I wasn't very heavily recruited out of high school. Like I said, I was a lot smaller. I probably wasn't quite as fast, but I went on a couple visits to Northwood and Grand Valley, and Grand Valley kind of said I wasn't good enough, and I kind of came to Saginaw Valley, and I really liked the feel of the campus here, and Coach Collins really liked me, and that's where I ended up coming. I'm glad I did.
It certainly seems to have worked out well for you.
Yes.
What do you work on now to try to get even better? Obviously, you set school records, and Saginaw Valley is a place that has a great legacy of wide receivers, several of whom have gone on to play in the NFL. What do you work on now to try and get better?
Well, one thing this year, Coach Fedrosi made me a low-light film, which is something I've never had, but he explained to me that that's something that a lot of the great guys do, that's what they look at. So I really looked into that and all the plays that, you don't want to see and the things that you messed up and the things you really need to improve on. So I really looked at that and kept those in my mind in practice, like things to get better on.
How much mental toughness do you need to be able to watch that? Because I'll tell you, broadcasters, we do the same thing. They're called air checks, and you have to go through and listen to them, and that's what you try to do to figure out how you can get better as a broadcaster. It's no different, but not everyone is cut out to take that kind of criticism.
To me, it's kind of motivating. You kind of get that feeling in the pit of your stomach where you're like, man, I don't know why I did that, or it just. And then when you think about that moment on the field, it just kind of pushes you to like, I don't want to feel that way again. So it makes you do the things right and really try harder.
How much of what you have to do as a wide receiver is technique? Because I think sometimes people think if a guy's big, he's fast, he's got good hands, that takes care of it, but that's really not the case.
Right. Obviously, it kind of helps, but at this level, playing against the teams that we play against, you have to have technique, and that all comes with film study and just running the routes and crisp routes and just practicing over and over so that when you get on the field, it comes, like I said, second nature.
What do you do as well in terms of working with your quarterback, working with your fellow receivers, so that you guys have an understanding of if this is the defense we see or if this is the coverage that changes at the snap, how you guys are able to work together?
Yeah, we've been meeting together, actually. These started kind of last year so that we are on the same page. So when Coach Collins says something, then Coach Verdrosi hears it, and then we hear it so that we know what John will be thinking when we're in a certain situation. So that's definitely helped.
Because I think sometimes that's one of those situations as well that, a certain play or a certain route may be called for you, but I know that you and John also will have kind of that check with me system.
Yeah. Sometimes, it doesn't go as planned, and there's a couple routes last year that happened where, you get tied up with the DB and you just got to kind of play ball, and John just knew what was going on, and he would hit me, and it's just kind of, like I said, just comes with playing with each other and just kind of knowing what each other is thinking.
You've had your opportunity now to play for 3 seasons. This is your last one at SVSU. What are you hoping for? What are your goals and aspirations?
I mean, as far as team goals, I really just want to see us come together and just have that feeling like I talked about a little bit ago when you just know that your team is going to be having your back. And I think that once everybody is having each other's back and we're coming together as a team like that, we're going to be really hard to beat. And how we've been practicing, it's all going to lead into it's going to be great.
And how much of that do you then also put on yourself to be one of those people who leads by example?
Yeah, I've never been a real vocal leader, but I'm definitely one of those guys who leads by example, or tries to anyway. And because I know we got a lot of freshmen coming in that, they don't understand some things, but if you take them aside and you just lead by example, everybody else kind of starts falling in line. And it's only turns out to be good for the team.
Well, hopefully all of that turns out well for the team in this 2013 season. Jeff Janis, senior wide receiver at SVSU, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, JJ.
And this is JJ Boehm, and we hope that you stay tuned and enjoy more of our 2013 SVSU season preview. Welcome back to a 2013 SVSU football season preview. I'm JJ Boehm, joined by SVSU senior cornerback D'Angelo Paris. D'Angelo, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And first of all, how eager are you to get started for this 2013 season? Because now this is your senior year. It's gone by pretty quick, I would think.
Right. It has. I'm pretty excited throughout the years, the team, we've been good, and I just feel like this year we have a great team, and we've been working hard, and the chemistry of the team over the years, we've gained trust, and we've been playing together for 3 years now, so, we just ready to get it started and play.
This is a team that when you look at the two deep, there's a lot of seniors that are going to be out there, and a lot of times you'll hear people talk about in college football, seniors having that sense of urgency. Have you already picked up on that among you and your teammates?
Oh, yes. My urgency of being a leader and leading my team has gone skyrocket because earlier in my years I haven't been too much in the urgency, having that urge, but now I know it's my last year, so I got to go hard and just leave it all on the field. So,
what's it like for you as a cornerback, particularly playing in this league where there's so many good wide receivers that you've got to match up with many times individually, week in and week out?
Going against other receivers, it's tough, but that comes along with the game, so that's just preparing and being ready and watching film and doing all the things, the little things that you need to do to prepare for games. So being ready for receivers, just a part of the game. So.
What have you and your defensive backs talked about in terms of preparing for this season? Because you essentially have everybody back except for one guy, but that one guy is Jeff Heath, who's now playing for the Dallas Cowboys. So there's going to be obviously some attention paid to that, but you've also got a lot of experience returning in the secondary.
Right. Yeah. For the defensive backs that are returning, we have a couple seniors, and just over the summer, and we really just talk about having that chemistry and that bond and just playing together as a team and getting it done. So, playing with these guys is just kind of fun, and we just know to go and just leave it all on the field. So,
how much do you have to have trust in your fellow defensive backs as a defensive back? Because many times you're saying, all right, this is my responsibility. I'm now trusting you to cover this guy because I'm going to let him go.
Right. Trust is key. When you play with somebody, particular player for 2, maybe 1 year, that just gives you that much more trust with that person. And when you play with these people, you gain the trust, and you can trust them, and they're going to make the play and not worry about it. So trust is a key part of the game. Trusting your teammates. So.
What are you looking for from this defense heading into the 2013 season? Because you look at the games that Saginaw Valley has played in recent seasons, a lot of them tend to be high scoring, so obviously as the defense, if it is that type of game, then it comes down to, can you come up with that one last stop?
Right. As a defense, we just looking to play relentless, cause more turnovers, give up less points. Everything that we've done better, like we're trying to do things better than we've done last year, ever before. So as a defense, we're just trying to get better and just, rally to the ball, make more plays, and just get it done so, the offense won't, have to do too much and go out. And so we're just trying to cause more turnovers and make plays.
J.J. Boehm talking with SVSU senior defensive back D'Angelo Paris. You talk about turnovers and making plays. I take myself back to your freshman year when you didn't have much game experience, got thrown out there against Grand Valley, and came up with an interception.
Right.
I've got to think that's still one of your favorite moments of your college career.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was a great moment. Making that play just it made me feel good, but it was just me playing football. I just really wasn't thinking too much about it. Just went out there and played, got put in there. So I was just thinking to play with my team and make a play. So.
And what do you do to try to cause more turnovers? Because obviously that's something that people debate, how much of that is luck and how much of that is skill and really working to get turnovers.
Right. Practice is key. When you do all those ball drills and catching the ball and causing turnovers, like circuits where you strip the ball, that's key for causing turnovers in the games, because if you don't practice it in the games, you're not going to be used to doing it. So practicing it and practicing catching the ball and playing receivers and covering, that's key to causing turnovers. So we just look forward to causing more turnovers this year as a defense.
SVSU opening the season against Northwest Missouri State. They're a perennial power in Division II football. Mm-hmm. How much are you looking forward to that challenge?
Oh, it's exciting. I'm ready for the game. Like last year, we played, a high-powered team to a Valdosta. So this is just another game. We're going to be on the way. We're going to be on the road. But I'm just excited to play, a good team. We're a good football team. They're a good football team as well. So I'm just looking forward to it, and it's going to be real exciting. It's going to be fun, atmosphere, everything. So just looking forward to it.
Well, we are looking forward to the season getting underway, and we certainly wish you and your teammates the best of luck. D'Angelo Paris, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, JJ. Appreciate it.
And when we come back, we will have more on this 2013 SVSU season preview.